Hi, I'm Lena. I'm 29 now, but when I was 16, my life completely unraveled, thanks to a web of lies spun by my own twin brother, Aaron. Growing up, our household was a pressure cooker. My parents had this weird obsession with Aaron's potential. He was their golden child, the future astronaut, doctor, lawyer, all rolled into one. Me? I was just that girl who liked soccer, got average grades, and had friends over. They said I was wasting time, unfocused, and the real kicker, a distraction. Every birthday, Aaron would have a party with balloons, friends, and a customized cake. I'd get a pat on the head, sometimes a store-bought cupcake. At school, I was bubbly and social. Meanwhile, Aaron had a harder time fitting in, something that started to fester inside him like a slow poison. The only person who seemed to genuinely care about me was my grandma, Nana Edith. She'd sneak me my favorite candies and slide folded-up 20s into my backpack. It sounds small, but when you feel like a ghost in your own home, those things matter more than anything. By the time we hit high school, things went nuclear. One day, I got grounded for installing Snapchat on my phone. No sexting, no shady behavior, just trying to keep in touch with my friends like every other teenager. But my parents acted like I'd committed federal treason. They tore my room apart, took my door off the hinges, and told me I'd earn my privacy when I deserved it. Aaron, of course, loved every second of it. He used my punishment as an opportunity to, well, destroy me. He started by whispering lies to classmates, that I was mean, violent, manipulative. At first, it was just words. Then, he escalated. He punched himself. Yes, actually gave himself bruises and a black eye, and told people at school that I did it. My own brother was framing me. The scariest part? It worked. Even teachers started acting differently. Friends began avoiding me. One day, I asked my then best friend, "Did I do something wrong?" She looked so uncomfortable and said, "Aaron said you hit him, that you get jealous and lash out." My stomach dropped. I confronted Aaron after school. He smirked. "Rot alone," he said. I'll never forget the way his face looked. So proud, so smug, so cold. Eventually, it made its way to the principal's office. We were both called in, my parents too. I was hopeful for a second. Maybe this would be the moment the truth came out. Nope. Aaron doubled down. He wept, told them he just wanted his sister back. My mom sobbed and held him like a wounded puppy. My dad called him brave for speaking up. And me? I sat there in silence, heart in pieces, watching my life spiral into hell. They suspended me. 10 days. No one wanted to hear my side. Not the teachers, not the school, and especially not my parents. When we got home, my dad went straight to my room and started packing my things. I remember standing there, crying, saying, "Please, please, don't do this." But he was like a machine. He said I couldn't live under the same roof as Aaron, that I was dangerous, that I was a bully. I begged. I sobbed. I dropped to my knees. Nothing. He shoved my suitcase toward the front door and said, "If Edith wants you, let her take you. You're not my problem anymore." That night, my grandmother picked me up and put me in her car. Before we drove off, she marched to the front door and said something I'll never forget. "If either of you ever dares to contact Lena again, I will go to the police." Mark my words. That was the first time I felt protected. But that didn't make it hurt any less. For days, I didn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I'd wake up in Nana's guest bed, feeling like my whole world had shattered. She made me hot cocoa every night, listened to me as I poured out what had happened. And unlike everyone else, she believed me. Eventually, I went back to school. But nothing was the same. People still looked at me like I was a ticking time bomb. Aaron kept playing the innocent victim. I became invisible. But I kept my head down and got through it. And here's the thing, I graduated. Not just survived, thrived. I got into college, and for the first time in my life, I tasted something new, freedom. College felt like another planet. No Aaron. No hovering parents. No one standing over me demanding straight A's or calling me ungrateful. For the first time in my life, I could just breathe. I made friends, real friends, who didn't judge me or try to compete with me. People who liked me for being me. I even joined the campus soccer club and finally got to play the sport my parents had once called a waste of time. Despite everything I'd been through, I still had dreams. One of them? Becoming a writer. Ever since I was little, I loved putting my thoughts down, scribbling short stories in worn-out journals, typing out poems in secret Google Docs. but I never really thought it could be a career. That changed when I took on a freelance gig just to make some side cash. It was small, writing product descriptions for an online boutique. But when I saw the first 5-star review from a client who said I brought their brand to life, something clicked. From then on, I hustled hard. I signed up for every freelancing platform you can imagine. Upwork, Fiverr, you name it. I worked nights, weekends, holidays. If a client wanted their content delivered by sunrise, I made it happen. I wrote for tech startups, beauty brands, yoga instructors, even a guy selling luxury fish tanks. It didn't matter. I was building something real. And slowly but surely, the money started rolling in. By the time I graduated, I had a fully loaded portfolio and a client list most writers would kill for. Instead of diving into the 9 to 5 grind, I decided to take a risk and go all in on freelancing. It worked. I was financially independent. I didn't owe a cent to anyone. And best of all, I could work from anywhere. So I started traveling. It wasn't glamorous at first. Just a backpack, a laptop, and cheap Airbnbs. But over time, I explored Thailand's beaches, the alley markets of Istanbul, tiny coffee shops in Barcelona, and more. For every new place I visited, I left behind a little piece of the pain I'd carried with me. Everywhere I went, Nana Edith kept in touch. She was proud beyond words. She'd always been my cheerleader, and even when she missed me, she never made me feel guilty for leaving. I visited her every few months. We'd sit in her backyard garden, sipping tea, talking about the world. She told me stories from her youth, and I told her about clients who ghosted, deadlines that crushed me, and random French waiters who tried to flirt with me in broken English. She'd laugh, shake her head, and say, "My little girl's finally seeing the world she was too good to stay hidden from." One day, I landed the biggest project of my life, writing brand content for a luxury fashion house. I can't name them for legal reasons, but trust me, it was huge. They left glowing reviews, referred me to other clients, and that one gig launched me into a new tier of success. I shared my milestone on Instagram. Just a few screenshots of the feedback, a heartfelt caption, and a selfie with my laptop overlooking a Bali sunset. I thought it'd just get a few likes. Instead, it blew up. Writers from all over messaged me, asking for tips. Some even reposted my story. I started getting inquiries from brands I'd only dreamed of working with. Then, I got an unexpected DM from my old college's career advisor. He had seen the post and was impressed. He invited me to speak at an upcoming seminar on unconventional career paths. "Your journey is inspiring," he said. "Our students could learn a lot from you." I nearly said no. Public speaking? Me? I used to cry if I had to answer roll call in class. But something inside me said, do it. So I did. Standing on that stage, sharing my story, from abandoned teen to global freelancer, was terrifying and electrifying all at once. I saw nods, tears, even some people taking notes. Afterward, a girl came up and hugged me. "I've been in a toxic home too," she whispered. "Thank you for making me feel like I'm not alone." That's when I realized something. I wasn't just healing, I was helping others heal too. Clips of my talk made their way online. They were shared in writing groups, women's empowerment pages, even a few inspo Facebook groups. One of them went viral. And that is how my parents found out. I hadn't heard from them in over a decade. Then one day, while I was working on a new project, I noticed 6 missed calls from a number I barely recognized. "Mom." I froze. I thought, maybe someone died. Nana? But no, she had just texted me that morning, asking how to propagate basil. With shaking hands, I called back. My mom answered on the first ring. "Lena," she said, all cheery like nothing had happened. "We saw your video. Your dad and I were so impressed. So proud." "Proud? No?" Then my dad's voice chimed in from the background. "You've really made something of yourself, huh?" I played along, gave them polite answers, until the question shifted. "How much are you earning now?" I paused. "Why?" Mom sighed dramatically. "Well, your father and I are retired now. The house is falling apart. Roof leaks, plumbing issues. It's been tough." Then came the real ask. "We thought, maybe you could help us out. Just a little contribution." I felt like the air got sucked out of the room. They hadn't spoken to me in over 10 years. Not a single apology. Not even a birthday text. And now, because they saw me on Facebook and realized I wasn't living in a cardboard box, they wanted money? Oh, they were about to learn something real quick. I should have hung up. I really should have. But something inside me, the girl who once cried alone in a room without a door, The girl who begged her father not to throw her out. She wanted closure. Or maybe revenge. I hadn't decided yet. So instead of saying no outright, I asked, "How much do you think I should contribute?" "Oh, honey," my mom said sweetly. "Just enough to cover the renovations. You know, roof repairs, new tiles, repainting. Maybe 20 or 30,000. It's not like you can't afford it. You're doing so well now." My dad chimed in, "We're your parents. It's only fair you help out. Family takes care of each other." The audacity. I nearly laughed. Family? They kicked me out without looking back. Let their son ruin my life and never once asked if I was okay. They didn't raise me. Edith did. So I told them calmly, "Sure, I'll help, but only under one condition." There was a pause. "What condition?" my dad asked, suspicious. I smiled to myself. "You stand in front of the whole family, every relative, every cousin, every family friend, and tell the truth. That Aaron lied. That he made up everything about me. That you believed him without proof. That you threw me out because of your own pride." Silence. "You're joking," Mom finally said. "I'm dead serious," I replied. She started to stammer. "But that's unnecessary. We can talk privately. Why involve everyone?" "Because when I was 15, I said, you made it public. You told our family I was violent. Dangerous. You let everyone believe I was unstable. If you want my help now, you clear my name, publicly." Dad's tone changed fast. "Don't you dare blackmail us." I laughed. "You called me. I didn't ask for this." They kept trying to pivot, begging, bargaining, guilt-tripping. Mom started crying. "You're being cruel, Lena. After everything we did for you." "You didn't do anything," I snapped. "You left me. You watched me suffer and said nothing. You threw me away like garbage. Now you want help? You want my money? Then give me justice." They hung up, and I thought that was the end of it. But 2 days later, I got a message from Aaron. "Hey sis," it began. "Long time no see. I heard you gave Mom and Dad some ridiculous ultimatum. Come on. You really think they're gonna humiliate me like that? They love me. They always have." I could feel his arrogance oozing from the screen. He went on. "Look, I'll admit it. I lied about you. Big deal. It was 15 years ago. You're still single, no kids, living some digital nomad life. Meanwhile, I've got a wife, a house, 2 beautiful children. You clearly have the money. So be a better daughter and help Mom and Dad. Let it go already." "Let it go?" I stared at the message, numb. Let go of what? My stolen youth? My demolished reputation? The years of therapy I needed just to function? The nerve of this man. And the worst part? He actually thought I would fold. Like I was still that girl clinging to my suitcase, begging not to be abandoned. He had no idea who I was now. Fueled by rage and a burning need to reclaim my truth, I made a decision. It was time to stop hiding. I wrote a long email, not just to my parents, but to every relative who'd watched me vanish from family events. Every cousin who whispered behind my back. Every aunt who just didn't want to get involved. I told them everything. The favoritism, the lies, the fake bruises, the suspension. The night I was thrown out and left crying on my grandmother's lawn. I attached a screenshot of Aaron's message, his smug confession that he'd made it all up. And I sent it. Within an hour, my inbox exploded. My phone buzzed nonstop. Some apologized. Others were horrified. A few even said they always suspected something was off, but were too afraid to speak up. A couple distant cousins said they'd never believed my parents' story and were glad I finally said something. But then the backlash came. Aaron messaged again, furious this time. "You think this little expose changes anything? You're still nothing. No one." A sad little girl behind a screen. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded the message to my lawyer. See, I had already contacted an attorney to draft a cease and desist. I was done being harassed. Done being dragged back into their toxic drama. The letter was sent within 48 hours. It demanded that my parents and Aaron stop all communication with me immediately or face legal action. It outlined the history of abuse, harassment, and manipulation. It made it very clear that any future contact would be met with swift consequences. And you know what? They finally shut up. At least, for now. Nana Edith was proud of me. She said it was about time the truth came out. "You've carried this alone for far too long," she told me, brushing a tear off my cheek. "Now let them carry the shame." After sending that cease and desist letter, it felt like a storm had passed, and for the first time in years, I was standing in the quiet aftermath. No more texts. No missed calls. No surprise messages from Aaron trying to twist the knife deeper. Just peace. It was strange at first, the silence. I'd spent so long bracing for impact, waiting for the next betrayal, the next lie. But the absence of chaos felt like sunlight after a long, dark winter. And I started to realize something. I was finally free. Truly free. Free from their control. Free from the need to explain myself. Free from the crushing weight of being the bad child. I doubled down on my career. Opportunities were coming in faster than ever. Collaborations, speaking events, podcast interviews. Apparently, people really loved hearing about the girl who got thrown out at 16 and now made six figures writing blog posts on a beach. I signed with a literary agent to pitch a memoir. I started mentoring young writers who reminded me of myself. Scrappy, unsure, but full of fire. But most of all, I took time to heal. I started therapy. Real therapy. No more stuffing down the trauma or brushing it off as just something that happened. No more pretending it didn't affect me. I was tired of carrying the weight alone. The first session nearly broke me. My therapist, a kind woman named Fiona, asked one question. When did you first feel abandoned? I cried for the entire hour. But it was the kind of crying that scrubs your soul clean. And I kept going back. I worked through everything. The betrayal, the gaslighting, the inner voice that still sometimes whispered, maybe you were the problem. Fiona taught me how to separate their version of me from who I actually was. She gave me back parts of myself I didn't even know I'd lost. Meanwhile, my bond with Nana Edith grew even deeper. I flew back every month just to be with her. We'd cook together. She taught me old Polish recipes from her childhood. We planted lavender and mint in her garden. We had Sunday evenings where we watched terrible reality TV and laughed until our sides hurt. She told me once, Lena, you turned all that pain into power. That's your real success. I wanted to believe that. And then, one day, something wild happened. I got invited to speak on a nationally broadcast morning show. They were doing a segment on women who overcame adversity to build successful lives. My Instagram and viral seminar clip had caught the attention of one of the producers. They wanted me on air. Live. Full story. No filter. I was terrified, but I said yes. I stood under the blinding lights, makeup done, mic clipped to my blazer, and told the entire country my story. I talked about my brother's lies, the abuse, being kicked out, sleeping on Nana's couch, building a career from scratch, traveling the world, learning to live again. I didn't hold back. The host cried. The audience clapped. After the segment aired, my phone didn't stop buzzing for days. Hundreds of messages poured in. From strangers. From old classmates. From other women who said, this happened to me too. And I thought I was alone. That moment, that national spotlight, wasn't about revenge anymore. It wasn't even about setting the record straight. It was about reclaiming the narrative. For once, I was the one telling the story. Not Aaron. Not my parents. Me. And the world listened. That night, as I sat on my hotel balcony with a glass of wine, watching the city lights flicker, I felt something I hadn't in a long, long time. Pride. I wasn't just surviving. I was thriving. I had pulled myself out of the ashes of a nightmare and built a life I loved. With no blueprint, no support, no safety net. Just grit. And Grandma Edith. Of course, there were still tough days. Trauma doesn't just evaporate with success. There were nights I'd wake up from dreams of my childhood, doors slamming, suitcases packed, accusations flying. Sometimes I'd feel that old familiar ache, wondering what it might have been like to have normal, loving parents. But then I'd remember, I made it without them. I built my own version of family. My best friend Leah, who FaceTimed me every time I landed in a new country. My writing group, who cheered louder for my wins than anyone ever had. The students I mentored who called me their writing fairy godmother. And Nana. Always Nana. She told me something recently that stuck with me. You've been through hell, baby girl. But now you're standing in the garden, watering the flowers. Don't forget to stop and smell them. And so I do. I light candles when I write. I eat strawberries in bed. I dance around my apartment to 2000s pop music. I take selfies with no makeup and post them with cheesy captions. I give myself the love I was never given. Because here's the truth. I may have been unwanted once. But now, I choose myself, every single day. 3 months passed in peace. No messages. No voicemails. No emails begging for forgiveness or hurling blame. Just silence. I used that time to write, to heal, to exist without being afraid that my past would claw its way back in. And then, one Sunday morning, I got a call from a number I hadn't saved, but I recognized it immediately. My mother. I stared at the screen, my stomach in knots. I didn't want to answer, but I did. Her voice was soft, almost unrecognizable. "Lena," she said, "your grandmother's in the hospital." Everything inside me dropped. Nana Edith had fainted at the farmer's market. She was okay, awake and stable, but she'd had a minor stroke. The doctors wanted to monitor her for a few days. I flew out that afternoon. When I walked into her hospital room, her smile lit up the space. "Look at you," she whispered. "My brave girl." I held her hand for hours. Read to her from one of her favorite gardening books. She hated hospitals and asked me to sneak her in some homemade soup when the nurses weren't looking. As I sat with her, I felt the weight of everything she had done for me. How she'd stepped in when no one else would. How she never made me feel like a burden. She had been my mother, my father, my shelter. And now she needed me. So I stayed. For weeks. I paused all client work. Canceled appearances. The world could wait. Nana came first. Eventually, she got better. Stronger. We went back to her house, and I made sure it stayed stocked with her favorite teas and cozy blankets. Then, one day, while I was sweeping her front porch, my dad pulled into the driveway. I froze. He stepped out of the car, older now, face sunken, hair more gray than I remembered. "Lena," he said, "can we talk?" I wanted to say no. Slam the door. Call my lawyer. But I didn't. We sat on the porch, the same one I'd cried on as a teenager when I'd been left behind. He didn't waste time. "I know we failed you," he said. "And I know we don't deserve anything from you. But your mom and I, we saw that video. The morning show. The seminar. We had no idea how much damage we caused." I didn't say anything. He went on. "You were just a kid. And we let him convince us you were dangerous. That you were broken. But you weren't. We were." For a moment, I saw the man I had once desperately tried to win love from. Then he said something I didn't expect. "Your brother, he's not doing so well. Lost his job. Wife left him. He's been drinking too much. Says we ruined him by never holding him accountable." I felt nothing. Not anger. Not joy. Just nothing. He looked at me. "I'm not here to ask for money. I'm here to say I'm sorry. And to tell you that your grandmother was right about you all along." Tears welled in my eyes, but I blinked them away. "I can't undo what we did," he said. "But I hope someday you'll let us try." I nodded slowly. Not yes. Not no. Just acknowledgement. And that was it. He left. Later, I told Nana. She smiled gently. "Some people grow late. Some never grow at all. You don't owe them forgiveness, Lena, but you owe yourself peace." That stuck with me. Because forgiving someone doesn't mean inviting them back into your life. It just means you're tired of carrying what they left behind. So I let it go. Not for them. For me. Months passed. Life resumed. I bought a small cottage outside the city, a place with lemon trees in the backyard and a wraparound porch perfect for writing. Nana moved in with me. We built our little world. Quiet. Safe. Full of second chances. I started a mentorship program for young girls from broken homes. Taught them to write their truths, to build their own stories, to stop shrinking just because someone else was scared of their light. One night, I got a message from a girl named Alina. She wrote, "I saw your talk. I was kicked out too. My parents believe lies about me. I thought I was alone. But then I saw you. And now I know I can survive this." I sat with that message for a long time. Then I wrote back, "You're not just going to survive. You're going to thrive. They can't stop you. They can't define you. You get to write your ending. Just like I did. I may have lost my family once. But I found something greater. Myself. My voice. And a truth no one can ever take away from me again."